I want to talk about why I think mass immigration is an issue and why it severely affects America and the purpose of America and the significance of America. I don't think that immigration is a bad thing. I think that that is a great thing where you can take views from the world and you can bring them here and you can integrate them with American society, American culture. Okay, I think that's a good thing, and I think we can learn from people. I think we can learn from different cultures. They can bring value here. It can bring value in a lot of ways. Uh, but I think that mass immigration is not a sustainable thing. Um, I think if you bring, you know, if you bring 10 million people into the country in a certain 3 or 4 year period, I think that's a big issue. Not only is it hard, okay, uh, for society to take in that amount of people that quickly, because we're structured around the people that are here currently, and we're all constantly trying to figure out how to balance what's going on in this country. And I think throwing that amount of people in is a tough thing to deal with, especially if you're going to give them health care, if you're going to give them a place to live, a place to or food to eat, stuff like that. If you're going to try and find them a job, there are other Americans here. I'm sure there are other Americans here who could definitely use that. But my main issue is with preserving the American rights. Okay, if you, okay, so America, to my understanding, we are we are the we are the leader. We are the model of human rights. Okay, free speech, owning a weapon, the right to protest, all of these things, we are the leader in that. All of those rights are so essential, and to me as an American, I believe that those rights should be, every person on earth should be able to have those rights. I think that every person on earth should be able to have those rights, and I think that we need to preserve that as much as possible and try to give that to the rest of the world. And now you may think, oh, that is the colonist mindset, but I don't care, because I think it's the best, and I think everybody can agree that everybody should have those rights, and that's what's best for people. Now, if you bring, you know, 10 million, 15, 20 million people here from different cultures in places where they weren't used to having rights, where somewhere from the UK where people think it's a good idea to not have free speech, that the government gets to decide what you can and cannot say, because that's the bottom line. When you have people like that, coming here and spreading those ideas here, well, those sort of web out, those go out, and those sort of, they diffuse into the culture here. And I think it presents a risk. It presents a risk for preserving American culture, because it's the people who have lived here for a long time. It's the people who, um, who descended from people who lived here for a long time, that and of course we did have immigrants and those people assimilated, but my issue is with people that don't assimilate, that don't want to respect American culture, um, and our rights. I just think the most important thing we can do is preserve our rights, and I think we can bring people in as long as it's sustainable for Americans. Um, but they need to, you need to assimilate to American culture. And that doesn't mean you have to give up your religion, or you have to give up your practices or your beliefs. But if you're here and you're in this country, it's really about respect. You have to respect who's here. If I went to wherever, and I decided, oh well, it's okay in America to do this, you know um and they didn't like it, well, then that's disrespectful, and you're treating their culture poorly, and to them you are degrading their culture. Okay, so why is it any different for us if somebody wants to come here and do something different? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and I'm trying to say, I'm trying to say it in, like, not such a bad way, because people like to call that racism. They like to call that whatever. They like to throw a label on that. But America, America has so much significance to humanity. And I just think it's important that we preserve. And I think it's the greatest place on earth. We still have corruption, we still have bad things that go on. I still think it's the greatest place on earth, and I think we need to preserve it. Whatever that means, whatever we need to do that. But I don't think that you're going to preserve it for very long if all of a sudden, this country becomes half modern day immigrants within a certain time period. I just think it's unsustainable. It's not an issue of racism or prejudice. I just think it's unsustainable. And I think a lot of other people think that too. I think some people think about it race wise, they think about it religion wise, and to some religions, to some cultures, I do think that to an extent. But I think it's more important about sustainability. So.